Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Sports in the Mitten, powered by Mr. Spots in Ann Arbor. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. It's a late night Sunday. Just got done watching Michigan State versus North Carolina in the PK80. Pretty cool tournament. Michigan State's really played some good basketball, excluding that Duke game, and already having played Duke, UConn, North Carolina, DePaul, North Florida, Stony Brook, but Spartans look good. But tonight we're going to talk about Wilton Speight transferring from Michigan. Wilton broke that himself earlier on his Instagram. I'll read the post that he put up for everyone, and going to tweet the live link here and get into the questions. It's Wilton Speight has been he's been a topic. I feel like he's been a player either you liked him or you hated him. There was no middle ground, I think, with Michigan fans when it came to Wilton Speight. Either he was a guy who was suitable or he was just a guy who wasn't. So we'll get into that. I'll tell you guys what I know about Wilton, and we can talk about just the past couple of years and everything like that, as far as things that were reported about him that weren't always true and that sort of thing. So let me go ahead. I'm going to tweet this live link and I'll get into your guys's. What a weird weekend though. I mean, Michigan. Ohio State, that was a winnable game, and you see that, Thanksgiving weekend, and then, tonight, Sunday, earlier in the day, Wilton Speight announces that he's transferring. So I'm going to tweet this live link real quick, guys, and then we'll get into the questions. And real quick, too, guys, I want to remind you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Do the same for the Sports in the Mitten Facebook page. Just search that on Facebook, Sports in the Mitten. Follow that on Twitter as well, at Mitten Sports MI. And follow me on Twitter, at AdamBiggers81. So, okay, I tweeted the link. Get into this. And real quick, too, before I start the show, I don't have it going yet. I have to set it up. I want to thank Wes Weber. Sent me a really sweet mic. I talked about it earlier in the year, and Wes said something that was something that he wanted to do. It'll really improve the audio quality. So once I get everything figured out how to hook it up, just got it yesterday in the mail. So Wes, if you're watching, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man. So all right, we're gonna get into your guys' questions right here. Michael Allen says, "What's going on, man?" Hey, Michael. Frank Lucas says, "What's up, big? What's up, Biggs?" Hey, Frank, how you doing? Jeremy Turner. Ian says, "My Spartans did well tonight." Yeah, Michigan State looked really good tonight. Really good. Ethan Lajenes, what's up with Shea Patterson? Real quick with Shea, I know Michigan recruited him. I know that he was a Michigan fan as a kid. There's rumors, maybe he's going to leave Ole Miss. I mean, I think right now, I don't know if there's any traction to that. So, I mean, other than that, Ethan, that's all I can tell you. I mean, it is Twitter does amazing things sometimes. So whether or not there's any lags, I'm not directly in the know, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But I know other people, and I mean, to me, it smells like a Twitter rumor. So because every time there's a quarterback leaving, he's always transferring to Michigan, right? I mean, Kevin Hogan from Stanford was going to transfer. God, I'm trying to think. There was another guy a couple years ago, and then obviously Jake Rudock and John O'Korn both transferred into Michigan. So Michigan's, I guess, a hot destination for the transfer quarterback, I guess. Jeremy Turner says, excuse me, doesn't surprise me. I'm assuming about Wilton, about Wilton leaving. Rodney Clark wants to know, why do you think he left? I don't know why he left, but I know that it's not because he was afraid of competition. I can say that with great certainty. I have pretty good sources when it comes to Wilton. And I think anybody who's watched the podcast or read my stuff over the years knows I've never been wrong when it came to Wilton Speight. So as far as I know, Jim Harbaugh did ask Wilton to stay. How that conversation went, I don't know. But I was told that Jim Harbaugh asked Wilton to stay and that it was not an easy decision and that, he was grateful for the opportunity. So, and appreciates Jim Harbaugh's support. I tweeted exactly what I was told. That's on my Twitter. Let me pull it up real quick. I'll read it verbatim for you. All right. Jim Harbaugh asked Wilton Speight to stay at Michigan. Leaving was, quote, no easy decision, end quote. And I'm told that family is grateful for Harbaugh's support, especially when he asked Wilton to stay. So that is exactly what I know. Anything else beyond that, Twitter's going to blow up with all kinds of rumors, and everybody says they know something about it, but not everybody does. So I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that is accurate information. Now, back to your question, Rodney, as far as why did he leave? I mean, I don't know. Only Wilton knows why he left. So until I can find out that information, I can't say. But I can tell you that it's not because I can tell you this: it's not because he was afraid of competition with Dylan. I mean, he was the clear choice the past 2 years. I mean, Wilton Speight is the best quarterback. Well, not anymore because he's not. He's no longer at Michigan. But Wilton Speight was the best quarterback that Michigan had, and there was no doubt about that in 2016, no doubt about it in 2017, even though he was injured earlier this year. So Frank Lucas says those who will stay will be champions. Guys, I think it's unfair to throw that around. I mean, he did stay. I mean, there were times when Jim Harbaugh got to Michigan because he was recruited by Brady Hoke, he could have transferred then. So I think it's a little unfair to throw that those who will stay kind of thing, and kind of trying to assume that Wilton, is leaving for selfish reasons or something like that. That's not the case, guys. And you can ask anybody who's been a regular on the beat at Michigan football, and they'll tell you that Wilton Speight was always cordial. He was always polite. He was you could tell that he was a competitor. There's nothing selfish about him in that regard. So yeah, those who stay will be champions. That's true, but it's not like when it was too tough for him to handle. And that's what I'm saying. Be careful with the Twitter rumors and all the speculation, and people are taking their shots and things like that, which is, beyond classy, especially when they don't know what's going on. But I can tell you that it's nothing to do with that, and it was a very difficult decision for him to make. And again, if he wasn't a tough kid or wasn't up for competition, he could have transferred 2 years ago. Jeremy Turner says he missed the last few podcasts. He's glad he made it. I'm glad you made it too, Jeremy. Michael Allen says he's going to miss Speight. He was a loyal Michigan man going back since Brady Hoke. Hopefully he didn't leave because of backlash he got from the fan base. I don't know. I could say this, though, Michael, and I think you'll probably agree with me. Was Wilton, not one of, I don't want to say divisive. He wasn't a divisive player, but the fan base was so divided on this guy. I mean, it's been a long time, I think, since Michigan fans have all been in agreement on a quarterback. And Chad Henne. I mean, really. Denard for the system. But when it comes to, unanimous fan favorite quarterback, legit star quarterback, I feel like, you go back to Chad Henne. And I don't understand why Michigan fans didn't like Wilton Speight. Some of them didn't. I think that may have been a minority, but sometimes on Twitter it seems like it's a majority because, people can just tweet what they want all the time, and you see that. So, but I mean, he was 6 points away from being 15-0 as a starter. Guys, if you've read me or watched my podcast, you know that. I mean, there are all kinds of stats supporting. I mean, Wilton was a very good quarterback. He had arguably one of the best debuts as a first-year starting quarterback in Michigan history. So don't forget that. Last year he was like third in quarterback rating, second in completion percentage, and that was 61.6. The leader was 61.9%, and he had like 80 or 90 some. It was a lot more attempts. I had the stats. We've talked about this before. I'm surprised I don't remember all of it. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that anybody can say or show me that Wilton Speight was not a good quarterback. And Michigan was a legit playoff contender for the majority of last season. Wilton Speight was the quarterback. So, the facts are facts. I get a little bit on Twitter. People ask me, like, why do I defend him? And one guy asked me today, am I his brother or am I related to him? No, it's when you have good information. I have eyes. I've watched this guy play ever since he got to Michigan. We saw what he did on the road when he was Jake Rudolph's backup at Minnesota, threw the game-winning touchdown to J.U. Chesson. Anybody who didn't think that there was something there was mistaken. And I mean, Jim Harbaugh chose Wilton Speight for a reason. Wilton was the guy in 2016. He was in competition to be the guy in 2015. Brady Hoke wanted to burn his red shirt late in 2014 after the Shane Morris concussion. So Wilton Speight has always been there, but he's just been a guy always overlooked. Steve DeGregorio, I always mess this up, Steve. I apologize. It's almost 11 o'clock, so you're going to have to give me a pass. He says, I figured he would go. I would imagine has been hinted that Peters and McCaffrey going to be it next year, plus Milton coming in. Now, see, Steve, I think that's speculation, because again, that starts to suggest, well, oh, it's a crowded house. He didn't want to compete, or maybe it's a personal choice. Maybe there's a reason why he thinks going elsewhere will be better for him. Again, he was asked by Jim Harbaugh to stay. I can confirm that. Alan Barganclost. I know I had to say that. There's only one way to say that, right, Alan? Alan Barganclost says, hate to see Wilton go, but wish him the best. And I think, I mean, if you're a rational person, that's what you do. But you know, unfortunately, a lot of people like to take shots on these guys on their way out. So I saw some tweets like, oh, the best news of my day is Wilton Speight is transferring. And, well, is it really? Because next year you don't have a quarterback on that roster that's played more than 3 games or 4 games, whatever Brandon played. So is that great news if you're a Michigan fan? I mean, yeah, there's talent in the quarterback pool, and that's never been denied, but next year, Michigan's coming in, does not have a quarterback that's played more than 3 games or 4 games, whatever Brandon's played. That's the extent of the experience. I think it's going to come down, now that Wilton's not in the picture, I think it's going to come down to Dylan and Brandon. I think Dylan actually, Dylan's the guy right now I think that I'd give a slight edge to. But Brandon had his impressive moments too. Either way, Michigan has good, young, talented quarterbacks, but it's not an advantage by any means. It's not great news that you're having an experienced guy leave. That's not great news in any shape or form. Michael Allen says, what do you think about the Greg Schiano stuff? Crazy how much the fan base influenced the coaching. Again, yeah, isn't Twitter crazy? Isn't Twitter just nuts? And I mean, I think if you're Tennessee, again, I want to keep this focused on Wilton Speight, but I think if you're Tennessee, you better have known like everything that this guy's done in his coaching background. I mean, you extend him an offer, and we're not just talking like, okay, this is a regular Joe job, and you know, someone makes a bad hire. So we're talking, this is millions of dollars. This is like the revenue for your university basically, other than, you know, students paying tuition. I mean, this is big time SEC football, and it's at Tennessee. And yeah, maybe Tennessee is not the job that it once was. And people are arguing that the SEC, some of these SEC jobs, Florida, you know, stuff like that, aren't LSU jobs like that aren't what they once were. But at the end of the day, to be okay, this guy signed a contract, news conference, and then holy hell breaks loose, and then they backpedal on it. Yeah, that shows not only the power of public perception, but the power of social media, I think, too, because this put it this way, I think if Twitter wasn't around, if this was a hire made 20-some years ago, this probably wouldn't have been, you know, or even 10 years ago. Twitter has the influence. Social media has a big influence, good and bad. And I've seen tweets. There was I forgot the guy's name. It was a former Ohio State linebacker said that Greg Schiano was a great guy, and it's a shame that, you know, some allegation, you know, surfaces on Twitter, and all of a sudden a guy loses out on an opportunity. But at the same time, I think if you're Tennessee, it's a pretty bad move to go, okay, we're going to hire this guy. Oh, wait, well, maybe not. You know what? And we forgot about the, you know, whatever his alleged association was with the Penn State thing. It blows my mind. All right, but back to the Wilton Speight thing. Rodney Clark says, I think that seeing the writing on the wall that everyone wanted Peters to have the job, and before Peters got hurt, he was stealing the spot. Well, I mean, I don't think he was stealing or sealing. Do you mean before Peters got hurt, he was... I think you mean stealing the spot. I don't know what you mean by that, Rodney. Either way, I mean, Wilton Speight didn't... I mean, he earned the job. He was the best quarterback at Michigan 2 years running. So I've always said, Jim Harbaugh made him the starter for a reason. Steve says everyone keeps saying McCaffrey, don't count out Milton, kid can ball. Yeah, I like Joe. He's got a fantastic arm. I think though Joe probably a red shirt. Robert Protzman says I tweeted that he was the most underappreciated player in the Harbaugh era. I saw a tweet. Maybe that was at you on Twitter, Robert. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Tommy Wilton Speight. I mean, and Jake Rudock was kind of underappreciated too, but he was only at Michigan for 1 year. Yeah, Wilton Speight definitely. Because how many people after John O'Korn didn't perform well, and then when Brandon Peters got hurt, how many people that were anti-Speight wanted Wilton Speight back? It's even after when John O'Korn started, after Wilton hurt his vertebrae against Purdue, John O'Korn struggled, and people were like, "Oh, wait a minute, I want Wilton Speight back." Yeah, absolutely. Most underappreciated. I completely agree with that. Preston Prosper says, "Thanks, but goodbye." Is that your farewell to Wilton, or are you saying thanks and you're leaving the podcast? Either way, thank you, Preston, for the comment. Let me read Wilton Speight's message that he posted on Instagram, guys, before I forget to do that. It says, thank you, Michigan. These past 4 years have been nothing short of spectacular. Enrolling in January of 2014 as a kid from Virginia, I didn't know what to expect. 4 years later, I leave a Michigan man. The amazing memories with my teammates, playing under the best coaches in America, and enjoying everything that this wonderful university and town have to offer. What a ride. To Coach Hoke, or to the fans that stuck with us through thick and thin, thank you. To Coach Hoke for giving a kid with no offers a chance, thank you. To Coach I can't read tonight. To Coach Harbaugh for coming in and making me a better man and a better quarterback, for understanding this decision of mine and always having my back no matter what? Thank you. I don't know where next will be, and I'll use these next 4 weeks to figure that out. I'm excited to keep pursuing my dreams in a new jersey, but will forever root for the boys wearing the winged helmet. Go Blue. So, classy exit. Definitely personal decision. Jared Jansen says, Biggers, getting some truth there, Jared. How you doing? Jared, if you could, Jared Jansen, my video guy, he was there Saturday, and he kind of explained to me like the whole JT Barrett thing. So, in order to get over that close, a lot of times you have to be like if you're over by the bench where it happened, where JT described it. A lot of times that's like one of Ohio State's. It's one of the visiting teams. So in this case, the Ohio State photographer. So I don't have any information on that, but JT Barrett. It's possible that JT Barrett got bumped in the knee by an Ohio State photographer because those are the only guys who are allowed that close to the bench. I know a bunch of guys who take photos. Jared, Andy Shippy, who's done a bunch of great work for me over the past couple of years. Those guys, Eric Upchurch, and those guys aren't over there by the bench because Michigan photographers in that case, the home photographers. So anyway, I'm babbling on. Cameron Clark says late night live stream. Hey Cameron, how you doing? Adam Malney says, do you think his injury could have made an impact on his decision? I don't know, Adam. I really don't. I can't, like I said, people are going to speculate a lot on this. All I can tell you is what I've been told and that I know is ironclad. And again, I'll read that to you guys. This was no easy decision on his part. The family is grateful for Harbaugh's support, especially when he asked Wilton to stay. So that's in short. Again, and I'll tweet. I don't want to read the message because I don't want to reveal anybody. So, who are we on to next? Preston Prosper says, need to upgrade position. Got to have legs to win it in this era unless you're Alabama. I mean, he was mobile. Robert Protzman, where do you think he ends up? I have no idea, Robert. And again, in his Instagram post, he said, he'd take the next 4 weeks. So if I find out any information, of course I'll tweet it, share it with people, information that I can confirm. But I mean, I imagine at this time right now there probably won't be a ton coming out, and it's something that the family just kind of sits on and simmers down. But again, and let let everything kind of settle. But again, information I got, ironclad source, direct knowledge of the situation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have tweeted it. And you guys know, I don't tweet things just to tweet things, and especially with the Wilton Speight news over the past few years, whatever it was. He was out for the season with a broken collarbone against Ohio State. Wasn't going to play against Ohio State. I was the only guy right on that. So everything else was the only guy right just about on anything when it came to Speight. So trust me when I say it's good information. Yep. Big Bubble Blue says younger quarterbacks sound really good. Cameron Clark says Speight was a nice kid, had a bad year this year even before the injury. Yeah, he just didn't get offensive line wasn't going. He didn't get a chance to get going. I wouldn't say it was a bad year. I would say it was an underwhelming start. Definitely. I was waiting. I think everybody was waiting. I mean, he was on the Maxwell preseason watch list. I mean, he had a pretty good 2016 before he got dinged up. So I was waiting, and we just never saw that materialize, and it got cut short because of the injury. I do believe that Speight would have had a better year, given some time, and given some offensive line development, some continuity, that sort of thing. It was all new receivers, 3 starters lost on the offensive line. You pass a game coordinator. There were a lot of things. Not making excuses. Other teams do well with young players. I mean, look at Michigan State. Michigan State had one of its best, Josiah Scott, true freshman, one of their best players in the secondary. So, I mean, it can be done. Yeah, and Steve says bad year before injury is 4-0. Yeah, and I think probably what Cameron meant more so was, in the long, he wasn't putting up the stats. It wasn't, a lot of people expected a jump. I'll give you that. But yeah, to say he had a bad year, he wasn't having a bad year. Again, like Steve said, he was unbeaten. Cameron Clark says Walton was pretty average in your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Adam Lang says, I heard Pep is a possible candidate for the Arizona State job. Any truth to this news? It's been reported by credible sources, so is there truth to that? I would assume so. But again, sometimes a lot of this stuff, there were credible sources who've reported that Arbor was going to leave, for the NFL, and that he wants to leave for the NFL. So anymore, it's almost like with this coaching stuff. And who's out there who can check you? If someone tweets it, someone could say, okay, well, I don't believe you. But if you work for a major outlet or something like that, and you could tweet it and you can just throw it and see if it sticks. I mean, who's going to check you on it? If it doesn't happen, okay, well, the source was wrong. If it does happen, okay, well, wow, this guy's got incredible sources. So I feel like with the coaching stuff, it's hit or miss. Like I'll believe it when I see. There's an announcement and a press conference scheduled. Because sign contract's not enough anymore these days. You can't just sign the contract and then announce it. I want to know that the guy has signed the contract, and I want to see the an announcement press conference coming in 1 hour or something, and then I'll believe it. But yeah, with this coaching carousel stuff, I think I'm not accusing any one person of throwing it, but I think it's really easy for people just to I'm hearing this or. Source says, how many different guys were supposed to, Scott Frost was supposed to take the Florida job. Like, there's so many. I mean, who saw Dan Mullen? I think was just like a late candidate or something. I mean, and again with Tennessee, there was other names mentioned. Greg Schiano was never a name I heard mentioned up in prior to I think like last night. So, coaching stuff, Twitter off season, have fun with it. Steve says, Pep can go in my opinion. Another new hire that didn't show me much at all, which did surprise me. I figured he would have helped a lot. I expected a more explosive offense with Pep this year, but again, I don't know, is that all on the coordinator or is it just on there were a lot of things kind of in Michigan's way this year. I think that, and again, I've said this a million times, if you expected better than 8-4, 9-3, you were fooling yourself. I thought 9-3, that was with a healthy Speight, O-line, made a little bit of progress. Maybe 10-2 if some teams fell on hard luck, like or had some issues like Michigan did, because it can happen to anybody. So injuries, like inconsistent play, that kind of stuff. A suspension, whatever have you. So, I don't know if it's all on. I'll say this though. I mean, I find I thought the passing offense last year looked a lot better, but that's really easy to say. And was that all Jed Fish? I don't know. I do know that Speight liked Jed Fish. I do know that the players liked it, but he had a senior tight end. He had an experienced offensive line with three all Big Ten starters. He had a decent, reliable ground game led by Devion Smith. So it's not like, and I mean, again, J.U. Chesson and Amar Darbo, you have a lot of things in your favor too. So was it all Jed Fish in the coaching? I mean, I don't know. We could debate that for sure. Adam Lang says, hard to believe that Dylan McCaffrey's already in a position to be a backup next year. How time flies. Dylan throws a really nice ball. He does. Or the Fox, Jared, are you saying, or the Fox TV crew? Jared, yeah, explain to these guys who is allowed to be that close to the Ohio State bench. Because already, it was already blown up into a conspiracy before it even happened. I could see people were going to be like, oh, well, a Michigan photographer dinged JT Barrett on purpose. Like, JT did say in the press conference that he didn't think that it was done on purpose, and he said all they wear gray. The photographers wear a gray vest. So other than that, unless they're wearing like red for Ohio State or maybe not necessarily even wearing team colors. So I don't know how there's a way to identify them other than just the vest, unless you remember what they were wearing underneath it. Zach Bass says, sorry for the late join. Just finished watching the North Carolina game. Yeah, that was if you're a North Carolina fan, not a good game. I think 25% from the field, the lowest in program history in any game. And Michigan State was running on Tar Heels like the Tar Heels ran on them. I tweeted this like the Tar Heels ran on them in 2009. It was just reverse. I remember that game, national championship game in North Carolina. Team of Destiny just ran and did whatever they want, shot threes, defended well. Michigan State did that tonight too. So we could talk about Michigan State basketball at a different time. Again, tonight, guys, I want to keep this focused on Wilton Speight. If you guys have any questions about transfer or you're going to read a lot of rumors and people saying that they know X, Y, and Z, but I'm going to tell you that not many of them do. There are a select few. Michael Allen says, one good thing about the UNC game is that Michigan plays them on Wednesday and they look very beatable, but the game is at the Dean Dome. Yeah, North Carolina before tonight hadn't played anybody, really. I mean, if you look North Carolina's schedule, they played, oh, I had it up, hold on. UNI, Bucknell, Stanford, Portland, Arkansas, and then Michigan State. And they had blown out everybody. None of these games were even close at all, looking at the score. And then they score 45 points. I mean, defense. There's a lot of things probably you could dig in with this game. Last time, Michigan State held a team to fewer than 50 points. I mean, you hold North Carolina, was scoring 99, 100 points, 102 points, 96 points, 93, 86, 87, and then you hold them to 45. That's pretty impressive. So. Frank Lucas says, excited to see Joe Big Arm Milton. Zach Bass says, feel really bad for John O'Corn. I was too hard on him, but blows my mind the things that he said. I think John O'Corn, another classy guy. I think it was real easy to John O'Corn as a scapegoat. And I'll say this even, yeah, the interception, that wasn't the only mistake made. Michigan, John O'Corn played well enough up until that interception. Michigan was down 24-20 with what was it when he threw the interception? Like 4 minutes to play, something. I don't remember the exact time. There's a few minutes to play. Yeah, pretty costly. But at the same time, I don't know, was that just poor route running? He said that he wanted that throwback, but just all the hatred spewed against that guy. I mean, it just disgusting because it is so easy for people, get on my soapbox again here. I talk about this a lot. So easy for people to hop on Twitter and just crap all over these guys, but you meet them face to face. You see what type people they are, and we don't know everything about them. We see what they show us, but I think with John O'Corn, a guy like John O'Corn and a guy like Grant Newsome, you can't help but like those kind of guys because you know that they're genuine. He really, the relationship John had with Larry Prout, it's sometimes it's bigger than football, and with fans, I understand like you live and die with your team, but if you can't understand that these guys are human too, it's just I don't know. There's a limit, I think, to where okay, yeah, you're a fan, you know everything about every player, you're obsessive, you watch all the games, you're a great fan, but then there's the borderline where um, you start getting like you need something else in your life, man. Like please, Michigan, if you get upset, if you get legitimately angry, not just playful fan anger, if it ruins your day and like you're just mad and you treat everybody like crap because uh you know John O'Corn disappointed you because you're a super fan. I don't know. It it just never made sense to me. I just can't understand why people dump on guys like that. And I've had this, and Jared and I, Jared, you're watching, we had this conversation 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. You could put down the newspaper, you could turn off the TV, you put down the magazine, right? And those were the sources. That's where you're hearing all this stuff. Okay, reading the newspaper, but this day and age is different, and people want to say, people like to make the argument, oh well, the kids are softer these days. Well, guess what? Everybody is putting their life online a lot more, and everything is focused a lot more on social media. And it is. That's just the way of the world. So, I mean, if you grew up with this and people, oh, well, it shouldn't matter. They see this on their, it's not just in the newspaper and on TV or in a magazine. It's on their phones, it's on their computer, it's everywhere now. So, it's really easy for, people who are older and go, oh, well, they're just soft and they need to, thicker skin and that kind of stuff. No, I think it's just stop being a piss poor human and thinking that just because now that there's this new outlet, Twitter or Instagram, that you can just go and say whatever you want to these guys, because that's not the case. So anyway, back to Wilton Speight. Sorry, guys. I don't go for that type of treatment of these guys. They don't deserve it. Joe Jana says, would rather have Shea Patterson or Jacob Eason if you had choice to transfer. Uh, that's just I like Jacob Eason. Actually, I've always liked Jacob Eason. So I don't know if either one. Jacob Eason's not gonna transfer. I don't know if the Shea Patterson stuff's true. So Eric313 says, from what I've been reading, Wilton is leaving due to lack of coaching from Dravno and Pep. Also reading Wilton's mother is hot about how the coaching staff is prepping the team. Well, Eric, where are you reading that? Is that a message board or what? You got to be careful where you're getting that stuff. Because again, everybody now is going to start, saying, well, I know this, I know that about it. And Karen Clark says, well, at least we aren't Tennessee. Adam Lang says Chip Kelly might not keep Jed on his staff. I don't know if he wants to come back to Michigan or if he'll go be an OC somewhere else. I don't know if once you leave, I don't know if you come back. I don't know. Eric313 says Joe Milton will not what? Zach Bass, bowl predictions for Michigan Holiday Bowl, Stanford. Everybody, they're going to salivate over that storyline. Jim Harbaugh versus Stanford. Believe it. Eric313 says Joe Milton early enrolling on the 20th of December. 10 days before my birthday. And 10 days before it'll be the 3-year anniversary of Jim Harbaugh signing his contract at Michigan, for all you Michigan fans. So forever associate that. Remember, on my birthday, I was 33 years old, December 30th, 2014. Jim Harbaugh signed announced he actually signed his contract on the 29th, but the announcement was the 30th. So, fun fact. Jeremy Turner says, I hope Michigan plays a bowl game in Florida. I'm there if they do. I don't think it's going to happen, Jeremy. Jared Jansen says, only OSU team photographer or team videographers or photographers or Fox TV crew. Benches are cleared of photographers after teams enter the field. So there you have it, guys. Jared's been on the sidelines for 3 years. He knows exactly what people can do down there, where they're allowed. I've only been down there a couple of times. Jared was always the one down there. And Jared, thanks a lot. I appreciate all the video, guys. Follow Jared, JJ Sports Video. Search him on Twitter. And I'll give you his handle right now, at JJ Sports Video 15. Again, at JJ Sports Video 15. Oh, Adam Lang says, I think we should keep Pep and let the offense get another year of experience under the system. I've heard that the offense might be too complicated, and another off season of learning should help. Want to see Michigan play Stanford or LSU out west, says Big Bubble Blue. All right, guys. Any Wilton Speight related questions? We can get into like more of the bowl prediction and that kind of stuff later on. I wanted to do this because again, it was, it was announced today. Um, I had some good information and a lot of speculation. So it's real easy in these kind of instances when a guy transfers. Just like with Keith Washington, everybody wanted to say that Keith was leaving because he wasn't going to play. Well, that wasn't true. He was actually the starting cornerback for 3 weeks. So there's a lot of things that go into transfers, and unless you have direct knowledge, it's kind of irresponsible to speculate because then you start, making the guy look bad. And again, people on Twitter just, with Keith, they do it with Keith. They did it, they do it with everybody. They do it with, and sometimes they do leave because it's not going to happen for them. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but that's not the case every time. So, any final questions, guys? It's getting 11:19. Probably gotta hit the sack. Gotta get my beauty sleep. The grind for a new job doesn't stop. Steve says it's always easy to blame the quarterback. That's scapegoat, like you said. The issues on our offense are much deeper than quarterback. Plus, not one player wins or loses a football game. It takes all 11. Thank you, Steve. Logic. I love it. I love it. You're absolutely right, Steve. You are absolutely right. And why more people don't understand that, I don't know. Yeah, all the well wishes for John. Yeah, John O'Corn. Really, really good guy. Actually returned a message. He's gone. Said, what was it here? I'll read it. Thanks for your kind words, Adam. Forever go blue, John. Real good guy. Another guy that follows Ty Rogers does amazing work. Yeah, Ty, and he's a hip hop head. I want to get Ty on the podcast sometime. He and I had talked about it earlier in the year. I've got to get that cleared with Michigan, but yeah, Ty does really good work. Cameron Clark says the 29th I get my wisdom teeth out. Are you getting all four of them? I had all four taken out. Mine were like impacted, which means they were like turned sideways and growing in. And that was fun. I was like 19. That was fun. Had a mouthful of gauze and Vicodin. So I didn't like that. I did not like the Vicodin. Knocked me out. Got my wisdom teeth pulled, and I don't think I did anything for about 4 days after that. Eat lots of ice cream. Yeah, a lot of ice cream. Johnny, could Speight play in the bowl game, or you doubt that? He's got 4 weeks to decide, so it'll be right around whenever Michigan plays in the bowl game. I don't think he'll be in play the bowl game. I think it'll be John or Brandon, most likely Brandon. And that's just my guess. No, but I think with Wilton, he's got 4 weeks to make a decision, and before he announced the transfer though, I said don't count him out. His career is not over. I didn't know if it was gonna be at Michigan or if it was gonna be somewhere else, or if he would have decided to stay, I could see him playing in the bowl game. So that was a big question that was on my mind at the end of the season. What was Wilton Speight's role? What was his future at Michigan? Zach Bass says, did you feel like Michigan coaches were and are going in a different direction? I don't know, Zach. I do not know. I did not talk to Wilton. Adam Lang says, Grant Newsome comes back next year, right? That's the plan. I think earlier in the year, Harbaugh said that Newsome could be ready for bowl practices. But yeah, I would assume that Grant returns next year. Ryan Kaufman says, do you think Harbaugh might have told Speight he would be back up to Peters and that may have added to his transfer? I don't know, Ryan. That's that's speculation. It's not he's not transferring because he's afraid of competition. If that's what you mean. So I don't know why we'd be back up to Peter. Wilton Speight was the clear choice for the past 2 years. So a healthy Wilton Speight, in my mind, would be again the clear choice going into next season. So maybe it was a personal decision on Wilton. Go somewhere else and let Brandon, or not let, but give the opportunity. At the end of the day, Wilton was still the best quarterback healthy that they had. So I don't know. It's not necessarily because he was afraid to compete. Maybe that's the best choice for him, and next year is going to benefit. Next year at Michigan is going to benefit one of those guys more than it's going to benefit him. Who knows? That's a question. If I do have the opportunity to speak with him, that's something I will ask. But to assume, I could tell you without a doubt that he was asked to stay, and to assume that he didn't want to compete is inaccurate. Jeremy Turner says, sucks to see Wilton go, but it's AnnArbor time to step it up after seeing Ohio State bring it with a backup and win. Yeah, Dwayne Haskins is pretty good, isn't he? Jared Jansen, Speight to Virginia. I don't know. He grew up a Virginia Tech fan, and that's a big rivalry down there. Virginia Tech actually quarterback Josh Jackson, a buddy of mine up here. That's his little brother, Fred Jackson. I'm name dropping here, the son of Fred Jackson Sr., the running backs coach, former running backs coach, longtime running backs coach at the University of Michigan. But yeah, Fred's little brother, Josh Jackson. I remember flying back with some buddies from Dallas, and the Dallas-Florida game, and Josh was just lighting it up for Virginia Tech. So really cool to see Josh down there. But yeah, Speight did grow up a big-time Virginia Tech fan. Big time. Michael Allen says, Virginia is losing a senior quarterback this year would be a good landing spot for Speight. That'd be interesting. I don't know. At this point, though, does it matter? Like, oh, I'm not going to Virginia because I grew up a Virginia Tech fan. It's like a kid going, oh, I'm not going to Michigan State because I grew up a Michigan fan. If they're going to give you an opportunity and it fits, then why not? But I don't know. I do not know where he's going. Any news on you? Are you close to finding something? I'm telling you guys what I know, and I have pretty tight connection, so that's all I know right now. When I find out more, when I can confirm it, or if when I'm told it's okay to tweet it, then I'll do that. Robert Pressman says, does him looking into the future NFL impact his decision? Not saying he did not want to compete, but maybe he wants to go somewhere be on the field for scouts. Roundabout way. And Robert, that's not illogical. I mean, why not go somewhere and say, you know what, I want to go at this point. Maybe it is, for reasons like, okay, I'm thinking of the future. I want to go somewhere where I can go light it up and just throw, And it's not because he doesn't want to compete. It's because it's just the best catapult for him. He has nothing else to prove at Michigan. I think he's already proven everything. He's already been getting ringing endorsement from Jim Harbaugh, the highest possible endorsement you can get publicly. I mean, Jim Harbaugh really had spoken highly of Wilton for 2 years, so that might be a possibility. I don't know. Steve says, I'm out. Night, Biggs. Night, Blue fans. Yeah, Steve, thanks for joining. Yeah, guys, it's getting almost 11:30. We're going on 44 minutes, which seems to be about the average. Almost all of these are 45 minutes, so we are going to cut it off. One more comment. Michael Allen says, so apparently Monet and Winovich both could come back next year. Our D-line could be great again. Yeah, Chase said he was something like a free agent, but he does have another year. He does have another year. Zach Bass is Speight, just a weird transfer in my mind. It's all, unless all these guys transfer for all sorts of different reasons. And like I said, it's easy, the de facto, as fans, it's easy to say, oh, well, they didn't want to compete because this guy's coming in and XYZ, or they couldn't cut it. Some guy said, tweeted me and said Wilton Speight he couldn't cut it. He's not a champion. Gave me the those who stay will be champions line, and that to me, that's just utter bull. Utter bull. Adam Lane says he might leave and pursue the NFL. Unfortunately, it's not like the NBA where you can withdraw. I think another year would benefit Wilton. Unless, I mean, the scouts were looking at him in 2016 too. So, I mean, I remember Mel Kiper was talking about him being a potential pick for this upcoming draft. But, of course, that was before the injury. So, I mean, maybe that's something that he's doing. Maybe he can go and impress in some private workouts and things like that. So, maybe, but another year in college, fifth-year graduate transfer coming off an injury. Do you want to risk another injury? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of there are a lot of decisions I think. If you're Wilton Speight, you have a ton of decisions to make right now, and not one of them is going to be easy. What is the difference from Russell Wilson leaving North Carolina State to Wisconsin from Wilton? Jared wants to know. What do you mean? What is the difference from Russell leaving NC State to Wisconsin from Wilton? Be more specific, Jared. Boobs Queen. Come on, are you serious? Oh, why'd I even read that? Come on, that's a. I thought that was just a stupid name. That's a spam. Sorry, guys. Alright, Adam says peace. In regards to transfer, same style. I don't know. That's like I'm not understanding. We're gonna cut it off, guys. Jared, I don't know what you mean. Text me or message me or something. I don't know what you mean. But guys, thanks again for watching. I'm Adam Biggers. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. I'll still be podcasting and writing about sports, even though if I'm not getting paid for it, because I figure why not? I've been doing it for so long anyway. It's kind of like it's a habit. Just can't drop it. So, I'll have a podcast sometime this week. We'll talk about if there's any new news in the Speight transfer. If there's anything else to talk about, we'll get into bowl projections and things like that. But now that the regular season's over, there's not as much stuff to talk about. With Michigan football, I'll probably cut them down to about once per week, maybe twice per week. Unless there are other topics, guys, let me know on Twitter. I watch a lot more. I follow a lot more than just Michigan football. So if there's anything in Michigan State basketball, Michigan basketball, but if there's any other topics, I'm stuttering here. I'm getting tired. If there are any other topics you guys want to talk about, Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers, anything like that, college sports in general, pro sports in general, just let me know on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. So we'll keep the conversations going as long as you guys keep watching. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Jeremy says, thanks, Adam. Have a good one. Michael Allen says, you're so big, you have spammers now, man. Good for you. Yeah. Michael said, I thought it was, I just thought it was somebody who was making up a stupid name. Boobs Queen. Then I read it. It's like, oh, God. Gotta love YouTube. Don't click that link, though. Your computer will get a virus, probably. Alright, guys. Thanks again for watching. I'm hitting the sack. I'll talk to you later.